Board 3. One no trump opener, 16-point, very balanced hand with 4-4-3-2, and partner transfers to spades, showing 5 spades, and then bids 3 clubs. This is a hand that is game forcing, may have even a better hand than that, but definitely going to game. And it's up to West at this point to identify whether spades is a good suit, whether he wants to play in spades. In some cases, you may want to play in clubs. If you had a 5-card club suit here, it might get very interesting, and you may be thinking about slam, and you will skip by 3 no trump. But here, with 16 points to 3 spades, it's a very easy bid to confirm the spades. Now, whether you bid 3 spades or 4 spades depends on the strength of your hand. Here, balanced, fairly good hand, big gap in the heart suit. Probably just jump straight to 4 spades, basically telling your partner, I don't have 17 points, I don't have any extras that are all that exciting. So unless you've got the goods, leave me in 4 spades. Of course, on this hand, East has the goods and makes a key card ask. Okay. Now, the robots play a slightly different version than most beginners learn of RKC. When we first learn key card ask as opposed to Blackwood, for some reason we always focus on 1430, that the first step is 1 or 4 key cards, the second step is 3 or 0 key cards. The robots play it the opposite way, which actually works out better for a lot of minor slam auctions. So 5 clubs here is 0 or 3, and of course the 5 key cards are all the aces and then the king of trump. Here we have an ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, and the king of spades, so we answer 0 or 3. Our partner makes a queen ask, okay, asking whether I have the queen of trump, and indeed I do. Now, the way that you answer this queen ask is by showing the cheapest king in your hand. I don't have one. So to make a positive response on the queen, but deny any cheaper kings, right? So any kings below the trump level, you just bid 5 no trump. I don't have the king of hearts, I don't have the king of clubs, I don't have the king of diamonds, but I do have the queen of trump, which is enough for our partner to go to slam. On the lead, we are very happy, right? It looks like we have an 8-card suit missing the jack of spades and some smaller ones. We have a 4-card suit that's going to take tricks and provide some place to pitch some losers. And we have maybe even a chance at a finesse in diamonds. If we count our winners at this point, we're really encouraged, right? 5 spades, 4 hearts, that's 9, 10, 11 with the ace, king of clubs, and 12 with the diamonds, the ace of diamonds, right? So we are very confident we're making this hand, and the first thing we want to do is win and eliminate the trump. And when we lead the 2, we get the news that North has a 5-card trump suit to the jack, 5 to the jack. Now, the initial thought is, oh, well, I can still finesse it, right? I've got the right way. I'll play the king, queen, then I'll finesse for the jack. But that doesn't actually solve the problem. And I won't play through it, but you can go and you can try it. But it turns out they still get the jack spades. And not only that, you've used up all the trump you might have used to ruff in clubs. If the heart suit breaks, well, then you can dump a few losers still here, right? But this is a hand that calls out for an advanced technique called a trump coup. Okay, this is when you have this awful trump fit, but you have the good fortune to having the long suit over the top of the long opposing suit with trump. So here, where North has all the trump, we have the long suit in East. Then we can try something called the trump coup. Now, the trump coup, we're going down unless we use a trump coup, as a matter of fact. So it seems drastic, but what we do is we make a lot of unnecessary roughs. Okay? Unnecessary roughs. So I'll lead back over the queen, and I'll play the top 2 clubs. Now, it would seem that the thing to do here would be to start roughing the clubs, but actually what you're going to do is you're going to dump a diamond here, right? You could over rough this heart if necessary, right? And then we're going to rough a club. Sorry, and then we're going to rough a diamond, right? The jack of hearts is good, in a sense, right? But here, the king of diamonds comes down, and we rough, and now we rough a club. All right, and then we rough a diamond. And notice, at this point, we're over roughing him, right? And we rough again. Of course, this can't be over rough because it's the queen. Right? And we get ourselves down to the point where we have in our dummy, the long suited hand here, we have a 10 ace, right? The jack of spades and another is out there, and they're sitting underneath my ace 10. Right? So now, look, I'm roughing good tricks at this point because of this coup here, right? Basically, a finesse position that we created by making all those pretty much, roughs that we maybe didn't need to do, except that now we catch him with that long trump suit, right? With that long trump suit, and we are able to take 13 tricks. Okay, pretty spectacular play. That's why it's called a coup. Successful, and no violence necessary. So on board 6, you're sitting north, and you have a spectacular hand, right? A 6-6-1-0. And not only that, your two major suits are really good suits. It's 7, 8, 15, 17 points, but definitely game going, okay? The problem that you encounter is that West starts with a 3-level preempt in the suit, of course, that you're voiding. So you want to play this hand. You can't pass it up. You must play it. The problem is, do you double? Do you just bid one of your suits? How do you get around this? Now, we're not going to look at the play of the hand here, but there is a bid that is very important to recognize, and that is a Q bid. And a Q bid is when you bid the opponent's suit, a Q bid of 4 clubs. Now, this does not, somebody asked me during the game casually yesterday, and I answered too quickly. He said, if I bid 4 clubs, would you think majors? And I said, yes. But the real answer, the accurate answer, is that if you bid 4 clubs here, you're saying you're strong enough to play game. And look at the robot calls it 4 losers. But you're strong enough to play game, and you can play it in 2 other suits. Okay, so the 2 suits, of course, we have are hearts and spades. Not unsurprisingly, the strong suit that South has is diamonds. Now, this is nothing to panic about, because what we'll do is simply bid hearts. This is going to announce to our partner, hey, I got hearts and I got spades. Right? Those are the 2 suits. And that just gives him the ability to pick between the 2. And we're not concerned, of course, because we're 6-6 in either. This got to be good, right? And, in fact, he lays down a hand with, I think it was 3 spades. Yeah, with 3 spades. And we have the ace of clubs, and there is absolutely no problem in making this contract. So, on our first board, board 3 today, the slam was obvious, right? I was surprised that not more people than 3 out of 9. So 33% of our pairs made it to this slam that should have been bid. When we're playing imps, okay, as opposed to match points, when we're playing imps, we have discussed before, it's incredibly necessary to bid your games, and that's because especially while vulnerable, because you can go down 1 a lot of the time and still come out on top if you're bidding your games and making maybe 55, 60% of them, 65% of them. If you are bidding your games and making that many, it's okay if you go down. In fact, if you're not going down playing imps, if you're not going down 1 enough times, then you're not doing it right. Now, imps is what, as I've said before, imps is what we would be playing all the time. This match points thing wouldn't even exist if there had been computers, right? And match points is a matter of just ranking, right? You know, he did 10 points better than the guy below him, so he gets a better score, right? And the scoring is in the percentage. It's easy to figure out. You can do it with a pen and piece of paper, right? Well, maybe not me, but anybody slightly even mathematically inclined can do it in their head. Now, imps is far more complicated. It involves comparing your score against every other team that's playing. So imp is very complicated. Then you have to average out your differences against all the rest, and it can only be done by a computer. It cannot be done by hand, even by the most mathematically inclined, right? But without a doubt, imps is a better game. Match points is a silly game, right? Very often we're like making ridiculous bids, intentionally going down. Sometimes we're trying to make over tricks that involve making literally bad bridge plays, things that percentage-wise don't make any sense. Whereas imps, you know, it's solid game, and there's not as much silliness and ridiculousness in terms of how you play or how you bid. The prime, we don't see a lot of imp pairs game. There's a national game that I played once and did. Literally, my partner and I set the worst score on a single day that was ever made. That I went back 20, 25 years looking for a worse score and I couldn't find it. And it was beat the following year by a pair from our district who we talked into going. They were going from the North American pairs. We said, hey, why don't you play those imp pairs? And they beat our record, so we don't hold that record anymore. But I've been wanting to go back ever since. Imp pairs is exciting. But the way we see imps played most of the time is in Swiss games and knockouts. Online, we play them as team matches. And this is the purest and best form of bridge, is to play Swiss teams. If you have not gone to a regional or sectional, played that last day, it's usually on the last day at a sectional. In regionals, they go usually through the week, and always on the last day, there's a huge Swiss. Get a team together, no matter how good you are, go. It is the most exciting way to play. It's a circus, and it's wonderful fun. Okay, now, to my point, after 4 minutes and 12 seconds, when you play imps, you want to bid your games. But what about slams? Now, the thing is that if you're bidding all of the slams, or if you are as aggressive bidding slams as you are at games, you will run into some trouble. Right? Because now the difference in losing is quite significant. Right? Let's say you're vulnerable and you bid that major slam looking for 1430, right? But it's not there, and you're the only one who bid it, right? And you go down 100, right? And if you're playing against another table and they just bid their game and made 5, right? Then they scored 650, and you managed to bring back a minus 100, which means that's 750 points that go against you. And when those are converted to imps, it's a big number, 13, 14, 15. And not only that, it can, if you're playing Swiss, where you may only play seven boards against a team, it may cost you the match, period. You might do well on the other 6, but you might have created such a big number that you can't overcome it. So we are more circumspect about bidding slams when we're playing imps, okay? Which brings us to board 7. South has this great diamond suit, right? They have a 7-card diamond suit that isn't probably not going to lose a trick. They have King, Jack, 10 of hearts, which with a little bit of help could be a very powerful suit. They have a stiff in the opponent's suit. Right? And the thing that comes up here is, do I want to be in slam or do I want to be in no trump? It appears as though if your partner has a spade stopper, you're going to be in great shape in terms of playing 3 no trump. And you could make a move that way by bidding 3 hearts, right? Which will show diamonds and hearts. Your partner's always bid clubs, and your partner will bid 3 no trump if he has a stopper. And in this case, he does. And then you run off all your tricks, and you're fine. But is this a hand where instead of taking the 3 no trump game and being satisfied, you might want to bid on? And I think it is a game in which you want to bid on. Your partner has made a game-forcing bid. He's obviously got some top tricks, and the hope is he will somehow be able to cover spades, some losers in your hand, right? Or maybe have something good in hearts, right? But he needs to cover a few cards. You have got 7 winners, right? What are you looking for him? For 5 winners, and he's a game-forcing hand. I think there's a good chance it's there. So instead of bidding the hearts, I think the way to go about this is to leave it up to him a bit, but say, hey, listen, I really have the goods and diamonds. He bids 3 no trump. Now, you thought, I'll leave it up to him, but you're still in the same position. It's like, okay, so clearly he can cover spades. But and he must have clubs, and he must have hearts, because all he's heard about is my diamonds. And now I find myself even more convinced we should be in slam. So I bid 4 diamonds. And partner just goes straight to 6. Okay? So this was a choice. Is my hand so good that I want to be in slam as opposed to being in this 3 no trump game, which is probably going to be cold, right? And in fact, I think that I did score 3 plus 3. People in 3 no trump made 6, right? And here we go. We've got the ace of spades and the ace of clubs, right? We needed that little bit of help in hearts. It's there. And the hand is cold. So finally we come to board 10, which is the most exciting hand of the day. I've warned you to be circumspect about bidding small slams at imps. You want to be very confident in them because there's just such a big difference in points at imps. If you are going down one and they are just making, if you bid the slam because you're the smartest guy at the table and the other team doesn't, and then you go down one, right? It's your loss is added to their gain, and you end up with a big score against you. So you can imagine how I feel about grand slams. You must be able to count 13 tricks. Don't take any chances on a grand slam unless you can count all 13. You can count all 13 on board 10. So the hand that I pick up is beautiful, right? I've got this long heart suit, ace queen, king of clubs. I mean, there's all sorts of things. Never open this thing 4 hearts. This is way too strong for a preemptive 4-heart bid. Bid a heart. See what your partner has to say. Thick skin is sitting in because the robots will make a really bad bid in this auction. A disastrous bid. So thick skin has consented to come play. He bids 2 clubs. And now I need to make a bid that advances our cause. I know we want to be at hearts, right? And what I can do here is jump to 3 hearts. And by doing this, I set hearts as trump, and partner will just start showing me controls. Now, when we learn 2/1, we know that one of the advantages is that we save levels by making a game force bid on the first bid, and that saves space for us to explore. On a hand like this, where hearts is the obvious trump, the last thing you want to do is be exploring. You waste a level or 2 trying to convince your partner that hearts really is trump. So just jump, right? I've got a strong hand. I got a heart suit that is self-sustaining, right? Show me a control. Now you'll remember from our previous course in 2/1 that where there's a game force, where there's suit agreement, and where your partner is essentially unlimited, and in this case I'm up to 21 points or so, right, then you're obligated to show a control. So thick skin will have to show me a control here. Now when you bid controls, it's a first or second round control in the suit, and if you bypass a suit, then you deny having a control, and that's exactly what happens here, right? He denies having a spade control. Now, this is an inference that's really important to draw, because what we know now is that my partner has an opening hand and he doesn't have any values in spades, right? He doesn't have an ace, doesn't have a king, right? All of his values are in the heart, club, and diamond suit. And of those suits, obviously it seems like he must have some clubs, right? Because I've got only the king of hearts is missing in the red suit, only the king jack is missing in the other red suit. So clearly he's got a lot of clubs. I would guess right from now that he's got ace, queen, jack. That's 6, 7 points, right? Still doesn't add up, right? So we're looking at a very, very powerful hand. Okay. So my next step here, after hearing 4 clubs, is to decide, well, do I want to keep control bidding, or does it make sense to use RKC? Now, normally, you don't use RKC with a void, right? That's because your partner will show you an ace in the void suit, and you don't need to know about that. Now, we can break that rule here. Why? Partner's already told us he doesn't have an ace in the spades. He would have control bid the ace or king of spades. Right? So we know that if he has key cards, then he has either the ace of clubs, as already promised, right, with the 4 club bid. Right? We know that it's the ace because he bid clubs, so he has more than one of them, right? So he must have the ace of clubs and some others, right? That means that on the ace of clubs, we can pitch our 2 of diamonds, right? And then the only other thing he can answer on RKC response is the king of hearts. So it's either going to be I have 1 or I have 2 key cards, right? So no problem on this void going ahead and bidding for no trump. And when partner answers 5 hearts, he's showing 2 key cards, the king of hearts and the ace of clubs. And of course, denying the queen, which we have in our hand. So now we can start counting our tricks. Can we literally count to 13 and bid a grand slam, right? Well, presumably we have 8 heart tricks. We have the ace and king of clubs, that's 10. We have the ace of diamonds, that's 11. And the only issue is, does he have 2 more tricks there? He's got to have 2 more tricks there, right? There's just no way he doesn't. He has an opening hand, right? He's got the queen of clubs, and I would lay money on it. But what I'm really curious about is the king of diamonds. So what I want to do here is bid 5 no trump. Now 5 no trump asks for the cheapest king that he has in his hand. Now notice, this is different than the way we learned Blackwood when we were beginners, where we counted up our kings, right? That was just to make it easy. Advanced and expert players universally play this as show me the cheapest king in your hand. And here, our partner comes through and shows us this king of diamonds, all right? Okay, now count your tricks. He's got the king of diamonds. He's got the ace of clubs, right? So we have 8 hearts. We have the king of clubs and the ace of clubs. That's 10. We've got the ace, king, queen of diamonds. That's 13. Now the only way this goes down is if there is some kind of miraculous lead on the part of the defenders and they happen to have a void, right? So we would need to have a ruff on the opening lead for this to matter. And let me undo. So the only way that this gets beat is if the opponents happen to make a miraculous lead and get a ruff on the first trick, right? And that's just the chances of that happening are so incredibly unlikely that we can safely go ahead and bid a grand slam. We're able to ruff the first, right? We have partner came through with 2 hearts, right? The king and another, which meant we had 10 hearts, which means there's absolutely no trouble pulling trump. We can lead to the king. We have the king of diamonds. We have the king of clubs, and we have the ace, queen, jack, 10, which was almost guaranteed from the start. An expert probably simply just bid 7 hearts on this hand, knowing that the values have to be there in the club suit because they're not anyplace else.